Hey crypto traders, checking in on things. The Ethereum bulls continue to astound. A lot of people thought the last thumbnail where I had Ethereum eyes was going to mark the top, but certainly not yet. That being said, we are watching for a climax top in the short term to lead to some more significant consolidation here, and we'll talk about the signs that we're going to be looking for where that could potentially take place. But from there, unless we see fear in the cryptocurrency space, we're going to be looking for those profits to go elsewhere. And there's a lot of altcoin BTC pairing charts that are shaping up and could be next to enter the spotlight. Let's look at the ones that I'm keeping my eyes on. So we'll start off the longer term monthly time frame. Bitcoin closed April with a bearish reversal candle. It's an indecision candle at the top of the uptrend. That being said, you have to confirm reversal candles, and right now we are not doing so. To confirm it, we will have to break the low of 47,000. So at this point, the bulls are still very comfortable with where they stand. On the weekly time frame here, we've seen a big enough bounce that the weekly lower high, anything under 64.9 thousand, the all-time high, anything under that is a weekly lower high. So we would have to see a confirmed weekly downtrend if we were going to say monthly consolidation is underway and the bearish reversal candle is being confirmed. So we have bounced at this point significantly off of the low down at 47,000. And again, if we want to know exactly how much we bounced, we pull up the fib retracement and we say, okay, we have easily made it over 50%. We made it over 65%. So there's a lot of space for bulls to work with, which means if we were going to drop down and confirm that weekly downtrend, it won't happen without massive bearish volume. It can't happen without massive bearish volume. So if we're not putting up volume that is red on big bear candles and more than the 20-day average volume, then we're not going to break 47,000. So keep an eye on bear volume. That's our prove-it indicator. And without it, we will just be watching for a tightening range. I'm watching for a 3-day equilibrium. Anything under 64.9 thousand is a lower high. And then we would look for a higher low if we don't have notable increasing bear volume. And just your classic equilibrium. Again, after significant volatility, equilibriums are the most likely scenario. Is it possible we V-shape to a higher high? Absolutely, it is possible, but in my opinion, it would need the opposite. Notable increasing bull volume if the less likely scenario of just a V-shape to a higher high were to take place. It is certainly possible. We saw it back here. I would have anticipated an equilibrium. We had a little bit of a tightening range there, but not your classic equilibrium that I would have expected. So again, it is possible to just V-shape to a new higher high, but I'm watching for an equilibrium. The 4-hour time frame is a nice channel to be watching. And I'm going to draw it here on the hourly first, just because there's some nice detail here. There's more detail. And I would be drawing this resistance line and support. So you can see we've been trading within this channel ever since the bounce from 47,000, which at this point is a week and a half. If we zoom out to condense the candles a little bit, the 4-hour time frame, it looks a little bit like a rising wedge as well, but we would have to see a bear break and a loss of 56,000 support if a 3-day lower high is going to be set. We formed a couple little bull flags on the way up, and the most recent bull break at the moment is lacking follow through. But again, if we hold 56, the daily high or low is intact and no 3-day lower high is being set. If we break 56, 3-day lower high, probability increases significantly. So that's pretty much the question right now. Are we seeing a V-shaped move to an all-time high, an equilibrium, or a confirmed weekly downtrend? Scenario number 1 and 3 are not going to happen without notable increasing volume in the direction that we're going to look to break. In the absence of notable increasing volume, equilibrium is the most likely scenario. The dominance chart continues its slow bleed. We had a moment in there where we had a notable hourly bounce and a correlation between the dominance chart and the Bitcoin US dollar pairing. And I made a bullish entry on Bitcoin when that happened, because that stood out to me as, hey, this is something different, and Bitcoin is now in its spotlight. And again, I talk about spotlight when the altcoins have their Bitcoin and US dollar pairing directly correlated and in bullish uptrends. It happened for Bitcoin, but it was short-lived and ended up with a small win on the trade. But as soon as I saw a significant shift in the correlation, where Bitcoin was continuing an hourly uptrend, but the dominance chart was fading back down. That's when I bailed on that trade because my reason for being in the trade was this might be a shift where Bitcoin dominance starts to take over again. Obviously, looking at this chart, that is not the case. The 4-hour downtrend remains easily intact, keeping the bears in complete control. The best case for altcoin bulls is a 3-day equilibrium on Bitcoin, tightening up for another week plus. And during that point in time, this dominance chart continues to dump because that is ideal for altcoin bulls. Sideways Bitcoin, holding strength, but sideways, and dominance chart dropping. ETH USD just absolutely putting on a show. The monthly time frame is in explosion mode. There's no information there aside from the fact that we've got a higher low every single month, and it is not close to breaking at this point. The weekly time frame is all bulls with plenty of space. Next time weekly consolidation takes place, we can pull back 50% and still be looking for a weekly higher low. The daily chart has seen a higher low every single day for the last 10 days, and with the size of the move today, we can assume that we will likely see that pattern continue tomorrow as well, unless we see a massive reversal. And that would make 11 days in a row. Watch for that pattern to break. It'll be a simple indication that short-term momentum is fading and daily consolidation is underway when we lose the pattern of a higher low every single day. Big time move up, big time volume, which means we're watching for a climax top. Generally, that's how moves like this top out, where you go extreme on the way up, you clear out all of the order book on the way up, you see a volume climax mark the top, you pull back very significantly, and you then have a very wide range to trade between for quite some time. 4-hour EMA 12, beautiful guide. It has held every single test, and there's been 10 plus of them over the last week and a half. I guess over the last week. So simple statement, if EMA 12 is holding on the 4-hour time frame, then the bulls have complete control. We just confirmed a 4-hour bull flag with a new support level at $3,088. The best entries have been 5-minute and 15-minute oversold conditions. We can see the last time we hit 15-minute oversold, that was a higher low at 28.5. And if we look at the shorter term, the last 5-minute oversold conditions did see lower lows, absolutely. That is worth noting, but obviously, big follow through from those conditions. So keep an eye out for a volume climax. Certainly no bullish entries in Ethereum at this point, unless you are looking at quick oversold bounces, or at least oversold bounces where you can then put a safe stop loss where you're not putting on significant risk. Otherwise, you're waiting for longer term consolidation. Can't succumb to the FOMO at this point in the daily chart. And I personally, at this point, I'm back to all cash in all my shorter term trading account. And it's very simple. I will trade ETH next time it hits hourly oversold conditions. It may take a while, but I know that it will be an extremely high probable trade when that happens. And that's when I will look to deploy my capital and play that bounce. Keep in mind that we are seeing the more and more people catch on to these RSI levels, the more they get front run. And what I mean by front run is if everybody's watching for 5-minute oversold conditions, some people are going to start entering before we see 5-minute oversold conditions or before we see hourly oversold conditions. So we may only get down to 32, 33 RSI as opposed to breaking 30 to signal oversold conditions. So we got an uptrend on all these time frames now. And again, just watching for a climax top in the short term here, but there's no sign of it at this moment making this video. The only people that are concerned about a climax top are the people that are not going to hold through daily consolidation. Maybe you entered recently enough that you don't want to give back a significant portion of your gains, but if you're looking at the daily uptrend and that's your guide, we can assume that a daily higher low is the most likely scenario next time we consolidate. It's been very fun watching the long-term no-touch positions. It was neck and neck with Bitcoin and Ethereum as far as their US dollar value for the position sizings that I have, after Bitcoin has been the leader easily for 4 years. And now today, right now, Ethereum is something like plus 17% over what Bitcoin's value is, which is astounding. Cannot stress long-term no-touch positions enough for anti-FOMO. If I did not have a position right now where I was seeing significant gains in net worth over the last week, I would be very upset with myself. I would definitely be more actively trading. But if I had no position and was watching this move, I would be it would affect my emotions. It would affect my trading, and it would just be a negative spiral. Whereas if you have that anti-FOMO position, it helps keep that mental balance, and it's going to keep me poised for when we see hourly oversold conditions to take advantage of. My short-term trading shines when we see big-time volatility in both directions. My long-term positions shine when you get this steady, non-stop bull move. ETH BTC, bulls in absolute complete control. Daily EMA 12 has held the last 4 or 5 tests over the last couple of months. I guess the last 5 weeks. Just a massive move up. The daily uptrend is our guide. We'll look for a daily higher low next consolidation. We'll then look for a weekly higher low when we consolidate after that. And as far as the monthly chart is concerned, we can see this is the highest ETH value comparative to Bitcoin since the summer of 2018. Almost 3 years. Next major level is 858, which is still a long ways away. But again, we are in the spotlight in a very big way. Time to watch Litecoin. Litecoin hourly chart making a bull move here. So daily time frame, the only resistance is 335.35, our recent top. When I was starting to make this video, I pulled up a couple charts and I said, I don't want to look at a bunch of altcoins. I'm just going to focus on maybe 3 and make it a fairly shorter video. And then I started looking at these alt charts, and so many of these names are positioned real well if Ethereum profits go elsewhere. And we're going to be looking for Ethereum profits once we hit a temporary top. Those profits are going to go to other coins unless the top is caused by fear in Bitcoin dumping. If it's not, then we're looking at those profits to go elsewhere. And again, there's a lot of good setups on these altcoin pairings. LTC BTC was multiple weekly inside bars breaking bullish. A bull entry in the US dollar pairing as soon as the high of last week broke is now a fairly profitable position. This is the resistance level that I am looking at because it is a double top, and if the bulls can get over this level, things are going to get real interesting for Litecoin. Look at the monthly chart on this LTC BTC. It is still massively bearish, and we are nowhere near levels. If we were looking at where Ethereum is currently trading, LTC BTC would be up 60% higher than where it is right now. So we're watching for Litecoin to be a laggard, and if we get over this weekly double top of resistance, the bull cross of the EMA 12 and 26 is taking place for the first time since 2019. So it's just shaping up for Litecoin to potentially get a turn here. And it started with that inside bar bull break on the weekly BTC pairing. Binance USDT, daily bull flag confirmed, new all-time highs. Again, there's a lot of euphoria out there. We want to be aware of that. And one thing that I'm making note of is I cannot remember the last time I saw a bearish post on crypto Twitter in the last couple of weeks. That's a red flag for me. Again, it doesn't mean I'm selling bullish positions. It doesn't mean I'm aggressively starting to short. It just is a note that I make psychologically and say, okay, we're going to start seeing euphoria and everybody piling onto one side of the boat. And I know that that's when the boat tips. So just something to be aware of. But the Binance Bulls, new daily higher low of 595. Daily bull flag confirmed. 700 psychological will be the next resistance level from here. And watch this Binance BTC chart. It's a 12-hour rising wedge. We've seen plenty of rising wedges break bullish, and in a bullish euphoria market, the probabilities of rising wedges breaking bearish is certainly much lower, but it does still happen, so it's worth paying attention to. This current candle has 6 hours until it closes, and we would have to drop down and break 0.0105 for a convincing bear break of this pattern. Again, nothing to act on, just something to be aware of, to keep an eye on. We always want to know, okay, I'm bullish, I'm comfortable in this position, I'm making gains. What would stand out as a red flag to me from here? We want to have that opposing side mindset so we don't get blindsided and fall into a sense of complacency. Theta USDT, daily was sideways here, a nice little 12-hour equilibrium, broke bullish. Very clear tight range. The bull break signal was 1165. We followed through very quickly over 1178 to have convincing follow through. And now, zooming out, the next level is 1226 and then a lack of resistance. Again, it's the BTC pairings on these altcoins. When, I'm scouting the altcoin space and saying who's stronger, who's weaker, I don't pull up the US dollar pairings. I pull up the BTC pairings, and Theta BTC is trying to change the daily trend bullish here. 2152 breaking bullish would be a confirmed daily trend change, and it would be an attempt at a shift on the weekly time frame after some notable consolidation and a bounce off of EMA support. Weekly inside bar last week. We saw the reaction when Litecoin just broke its weekly inside bars. Watch Theta as well. XRP, daily bull flag. Watch XRP. Why? Because the BTC pairing is a cup and handle. We have a resistance level, consolidation, a double top, and now a bull flag. If we head up and break these resistances, it's going to be XRP's turn to shine, and we'll be looking for XRP to very quickly head back to 197 if that BTC pairing can break bullish. Doge, worth watching. We are strong. Higher low every day the last 6 days. Most importantly, resistance of 4355 and 45. We have the fundamental, I guess you can call it that, the event of heading into the SNL Elon Musk day, May 8th. We are going to anticipate the potential of a run up and new all-time highs into that event, but a sell the news event. Watch for the top to be set Friday or Saturday. But for now, 4-hour uptrend, keeping the bulls in control. EMA 12 support and little resistance before we're talking all-time highs again. Keep an eye on the BTC correlation. It's in a 4-hour uptrend as well. Spotlights. Find the names that are close to breaking key weekly levels to enter their turn in the spotlight, where their BTC pairing and US dollar pairing are directly correlated and both going up significantly. Congrats, ETH bulls. We'll be watching the next 5-minute oversold conditions, the next 15-minute, the next hourly, but cautious of a temporary top in the near term and plenty of space for a daily high or low. All right, feel free to ask any questions. Don't forget to do good things out there. Establish those game plans. At this point, I would not be shorting anything in the cryptocurrency space unless I'm hedging positions. There's no need to try and nail the top. So if you are hedging long-term positions, then absolutely, shorting is fine. Ideally having a stop level nearby to be going off of, but otherwise, let's not bang our heads against the wall trying to short an extremely strong market. There'll be plenty of opportunity to short once a top that is significant is set. Don't have to nail the top. All you got to do is go back and look at 2018 and see how much time there was to flip mindset to bearish and how many opportunities for significant gains there were, even, after pulling back 10, 20% from the all-time high. See you next time. Have a good Monday. After 2 years in a row, no birds took this nest this spring, which is right next to my office. And I see the variety, forget exactly what it is, but there's a bunch of them down in the barn, and I've left the barn doors open all winter intentionally to try and get birds to live in there, and I think they moved into that spot. This is So-Chan. My buddy gave me a little piece of it last year, and I planted, and it's certainly taking hold in year 2. And it's edible, but I'll rarely eat it. It's the kind of thing that I'm just playing around and having fun, but sticking as much edible food in the yard as possible. So if I ever needed it, I've got a big source of food all over the place. This is the fig tree to be transplanted. These are all the flowers to plant over the next week or 2. Last year I did sunflowers along the driveway, which was good, but this year I'm going to do zinnias. but we are not positioned well in this sector for any broader market weakness. We have a triple bottom of support. We have daily lower highs being the result of every bounce. Scared the out of me. Turkeys. 2-day equilibrium